let's go with the Navy SEAL beef. Okay. Now I've been saying for a while now that these special forces guys are no better than you and me. They're just as messy, just as childish. They do girly shit, you know, except they have a license to kill. That's the only difference between these men online now and us. They have licenses to kill, backed by the government. That's it. Did y'all see this shit? Shawn Ryan being sued by another former Navy SEAL, Dan Crenshaw. Navy SEALs are the worst. They've ruined their reputation and their damage to a degree where they're almost a joke now. Even though they're top 3 special forces in the world, they fall behind Delta and British SAS. Don't get me wrong. But they've done so much irreparable harm to their damage. The running joke is, you want to know what happened on a black bag mission? Go ask a SEAL. All they do is write books. They spill their guts. You know, they come online to tell everybody all their business. This is the running joke that the Navy SEALs have become. And there's nobody to blame but former Navy SEALs. This is how bad it's gotten with these guys. Now, don't get me wrong. Green Berets messy. Army Rangers messy. They're all messy, but the Navy SEALs, man, taking this shit to another level. And I'm like, you guys are supposed to be silent or quiet professionals. And you're on YouTube beefing with each other. Right? Who's the other guy? Suing the other guy. Brent Tucker's being sued by somebody else for having a guest that said, well, I was the one that shot Bin Laden. No, I shot Bin Laden. Well, no, I shot him, but I didn't kill him. Like, this is what they do now. That's how bad it's beginning. Okay. I listen, Mike Tomlin should have been fired years ago. Mike Tomlin should have been fired 6 years ago. Easily, at least 5 years ago, Mike Tomlin should have been fired a long time ago. All right. This is where we're at. So let's go here. Right. Shawn Ryan, is he former Navy SEAL? Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Let me check to make sure. What branch did he, what special forces did he serve? Shawn Ryan. Right? He was a SEAL too, right? Or was he something else? Yeah, he's a former Navy SEAL. Okay. There's crazy ass Jocko. Right? Okay. These guys are trained killers. These men are trained killers. This is what they did for a living. Right? And they come online and they turn into girls. They turn into women. They turn into gossip queens and tea sippers. I know more military tea because of these guys. The guys that are supposed to be quiet. Right? You got homeboy over there, former Green Beret, Nate, Valhalla VFT. I can't no longer watch him. He turned into a gossip queen. He's a tea sipper. Sir, you're a Green Beret. You guys are supposed to be quiet. And go off into the sunset and be quiet. These motherfuckers done came here to YouTube and found the stardom. Oh my God. Okay, let's just get to it. This is insane. This is insane. These guys are professional killers. Come on.
I want to address something directly with all of you who've supported this show and made it what it is today. On December 9th, 2025, I received a legal...
Bruh, Ty, it is so messy. Listen, I follow all these guys, all the former Delta, all the former SEALs, Green Berets. There's a couple Marine Marsoc Raiders that I follow. They're all fucking messy, right? Nate Valhalla, he hates John McPhee so much. You know, John McPhee gonna do what John McPhee does. He embellishes. They all embellish their little gun story, the gunfights. I'm not diminishing their experiences, but there's always a hinge of embellishment when they tell their stories. Right? And so everybody hates John McPhee because he's so popular and he tells all these wild and fantastical stories. But at the same time, he's a trained killer. He will kill you. You understand? And so now these guys, not him, not Shawn per se, but these guys hate Shrek so bad they don't doxed him. They went into his military records of DD-14 and to show, well, he didn't retire as an E8. He retired as an E6. He got bussed down back to infantry status. Like, who cares? I don't care. Did you kill people for a living? Yes. Were you one of the most elite war fighters in the world? Yes. I don't care. Would I not take weapons instructions from this man? Yes, I would. They've turned into the military tea-sipping gossip sector. That's how bad it's gotten with these guys. Come on.
Demand letter from lawyers representing Congressman Dan Crenshaw. They are threatening to sue me for defamation because of comments I made on my podcast about a message that he sent me. They want me to remove content, issue a public apology, and stop talking about him.
Hold up. Dan Crenshaw is a former Navy SEAL. What happened to the brotherhood?
I'm not going to do any of that. Let me give you full context so you can judge for yourself. What I originally said a while back, I commented on my show about Congressman Crenshaw throwing an extremely expensive party and the fact that he seems to have become quite wealthy during his time in Congress. I raised questions about how a congressman making $174,000 a year can afford that kind of a lifestyle. These are legitimate questions. And to be honest, I didn't even mention Dan Crenshaw's name in that initial conversation. I just brought up the fact that he was having Steve Aoki, a major DJ, spin at his party. And then, let's fast forward a couple years and they got Steve Aoki DJing their 40th birthday party. How does that happen?
I don't have firsthand experience in this. I have often questioned this.
Wait, is that Tulsi Gabbard? Wait. This is Tulsi Gabbard, y'all. This is Tulsi Gabbard. Come on, let's continue. Listen, the cabal is deep. They're all involved. I don't trust none of these people. None of them. Despite your service record, great. I don't trust you. I don't trust none of these, nor should you, but come on.
The same thing.
These are legitimate questions. Multiple news outlets have reported on concerns about congressional insider trading and members of Congress, including Congressman Crenshaw, actively trading stocks while having access to non-public information that affects those very stocks. I'm not the only person asking these questions, but apparently I'm the one that got under Dan's skin. After I made those comments, Congressman Crenshaw sent me an Instagram message. I'm going to publish the actual screenshot so you can see for yourself right here. Here's what it says. Hey, Shawn, you have the ability to contact your fellow team guy if you've got a problem with me or have questions about how I'm getting rich. Some of my boys at 6 told me about your indirect swipe at me. From the comment you made, it sounds like you have some beliefs that are based on trendy narratives instead of facts.
Now, his boys at 6, he'd be referring to his buddies that he still connects, he's in contact with Navy SEAL Team 6. Like, listen, Dan Crenshaw is so far removed from the military at this point. Like, I highly doubt he has people that he's cool with on that level. That's still in service level. Like, he's so far removed from it. I highly doubt this is the case, but let's continue. I'm here for it.
Now, let me be clear about what I saw when I read that message. A sitting United States congressman who happens to be a former Navy SEAL sent me a message saying, my boys at 6 told me about my criticism of him. My boys at 6. That means SEAL Team 6, Development Group, the most elite special operations unit in the United States military and arguably the world. When I received that message, in the context of me criticizing him, I interpreted it as threatening. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he just meant that some guys he used to work with told him about my comments and he wanted to have a friendly chat. But that's not how it read to me, and I said so on my podcast. Now here's a clip of Congressman Dan Crenshaw literally saying if he ever meets Tucker Carlson, he will fucking kill him.
Have you ever met Tucker?
So I'm just curious, what would you think if Congressman Dan Crenshaw sent you a message saying his boys at 6 after he threatened to kill Tucker Carlson? Now his lawyers are claiming that my interpretation of his message is defamation. They say I accused him of threatening me with assault, which is a crime, and that I need to publicly apologize and remove the content from my show. Here's my response. No. I'm publishing their full demand letter along with my lawyer's response so that you can read both and decide for yourself whether my interpretation was unreasonable. This isn't really about whether I misunderstood a message. This is about whether A sitting member of Congress can use the threat of an expensive litigation to silence criticism. I asked questions about Congressman Crenshaw's wealth. Those questions are fair game. He is a public official. He makes decisions that affect all of us. He trades stocks while having access to classified and non-public information. The public has a right to ask how he's getting rich while he's in office. Instead of answering those questions, he sent me a message that referenced SEAL Team 6. And when I said that message felt threatening, he lawyered up and demanded I apologize and shut up. And I won't. Now, what's going to happen next? If Congressman Crenshaw wants to sue me, he can. My lawyers are ready, and if he does, we're going to use the discovery process to get answers to all the questions I originally asked.
Y'all, these are the guys. I don't want to bring race into it, but these are the guys these white boys look up to, right? These are the guys like, yo, oh my God, I heard stories about you guys. My uncle was in it, and I heard him. I want to be like you guys. And they come online and preach, you know, brotherhood, morality, and integrity, and being a professional. This is the furthest thing from being a professional. The furthest thing. But these, like I said, these men are no different than me and you. If it, you know, whoever I've had issues with, they're no different. They just have a license to kill. That's it. They can play with pew-pews, and I can't. That is it.
Questions about his finances and how he affords the lifestyle he's living on a congressional salary. I suspect that's the last thing Dan actually wants. But here's what I think is really going on. Congressman Dan thought he could intimidate me into silence. He thought a legal threat would make me back down. But unfortunately, Dan, you're wrong. I'm a veteran. I've been in combat too. I've faced actual threats. A demand letter from a DC law firm, unfortunately, does not scare me. So let me clarify my position for the record. Congressman Crenshaw sent me a message that said, my boys at 6 told me about my criticism of him. I interpreted that as threatening. Maybe he didn't intend it that way. Maybe he's just really bad at communication. But when a congressman invokes elite special operations forces into a message to someone who's criticizing him.
Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the levels of messiness these guys are involved in. I mean, don't have me mention Eddie Gallagher, right? Eddie Gallagher, former SEAL team captain, that was at one point under investigation for a war crime in which he openly stabbed a young Afghani. Or was it Afghani? It was a Taliban kid. He was a teenager. Stabbed him up on camera. Punctured his lungs with a knife. And then they all covered for him. Somebody told they covered for him during the trial. One of the other SEAL team members said, no, I did it. Cap didn't do it. I stabbed the kid up. Right? And he got off. Then Trump restored his rank and all that shit back. You understand? These are the type of people we're talking about. These psychopathic. What is a proper psychological term for? Yeah, you basically want psychopaths on these teams. Yeah, because they can compartmentalize and put that shit out and forget and move on, right? And see nothing wrong with what they did. You understand? Like their moral compass is a little bit skewed, but not skewed enough to where we would kick you out. You know what I'm saying? So here's his lawyer, his attorney's response to the cease and desist, right? Okay. I mean, I don't care about going through all this. I've gone through over it before. Now, Congressman Crenshaw actually responded. I didn't think he was going to do it. He actually responded to Shawn. These are two former Navy SEALs. Two former badasses with licenses to kill going at each other. This is the military community, basically. This is the cream of the crop of the soldiers. And they're like little girls when it comes to the internet. I don't like you. You don't like me. I don't like you. Oh, that's what they do. That's all they've been doing. These guys debate who's killed who, service records, ranking, how many silver stars, training method. I mean, they're so fucking catty. It's You wouldn't believe it. You thought the beef sector was bad. You thought the cluster sector was bad. You thought the MO3 sector was bad. The special forces sector tops them all because these guys are government employees, government trained, highly trained, experts, killers.
Hey everyone, all right. On my way out of DC after a long week where we have real work to do. Been working all week on solving the healthcare issue in America so we don't shut down the government again in January. And next week we're looking at banning transgender surgery on minors. So look, I hate doing these kind of videos because that's distracting from that work I just told you about. Because this video is unfortunately not about that work. It's about Shawn Ryan blowing up the internet last night talking about me. And so I'm going to respond to that. I'm going to give you the context and I'm going to save you the time to watch his 8-minute rambling video and kind of give you the facts here. This whole saga with Shawn Ryan started just over a year ago. Now, I've never met Shawn. We never served together. I don't know why he's got an issue with me. Maybe it's politics. He did very positively platform Gavin Newsom, of all people. He even gave him a gun to try and make him more appealable to maybe center-right voters. I don't know. I don't know what his intent is or why he's angry with me. But about a year ago, he took this indirect swipe at me. And I say indirect because he didn't mention me by name. He just said, hey, Congressman getting rich and, they can afford things like Steve Aoki at their birthday party. That can't be cheap. And so he accused me of hiring Steve Aoki, a big famous and probably expensive DJ, to play at a private party for myself. By the way, not true at all. I did go to a Steve Aoki performance with a bunch of friends and supporters, but paid tickets just like everybody else. So no idea why he's obsessed with that story, but he is. And so I sent him a DM, private DM. I didn't publicly say anything to him. And in that DM, I said this. Said exactly this. I said, hey, Shawn, you have the ability to contact your fellow team guy if you've got a problem with me or have questions about how I'm quote unquote getting rich. Some of my boys at 6 told me about your indirect swipe at me. From the comment you made, it seems like you have some beliefs that are based on trendy narratives. And
okay, so let me stop there. So this is just as bad as the chat. When I say, the people's chat can get them jammed up, get creators jammed up, this is exactly what I mean. So had his boys at 6 not even said anything and brought this to Dan Crenshaw, we're not having this discussion. So because a bunch of chatty patties wanted to see some dust up, they say, hey, Dan, hey, homeboy's over here talking about you. And Dan should have been a bigger person and said, it's okay. But no, Dan indulged. And now we have Dan versus Shawn. Because nobody thought to say, you know what, this is beneath me. I'm a fucking congressman. I don't have time for this. Right? And because the congressman's buddies are chatty patties and gossip girls, this is how we got here. Because they're gossip girls with guns.
Set of facts. Okay, so that's the only thing I ever sent him. He never responded, never asked any more questions. Don't think he was very interested in the truth. And a year later, like very recently, goes back on his podcast, makes the same kind of statements about hiring Steve Aoki and all this nonsense. But of course does name me this time. So now he's kind of forced me to act. But he goes a lot further. And this is where it gets interesting. And this is why he got a letter from my lawyers. Because he says that message that I just read to you was actually a threat to assault him with my boys at SEAL Team 6. Now, I just read it to you. It doesn't say anything like that. It's not remotely threatening. It's not even an aggressive message. No reasonable person could possibly interpret it that.
No, sir. This is the internet. Things are perceived a little bit differently here on the internet. So yes, if someone sent me a message, hey, my boys over here, said you said this. What the fuck you mean? Are you watching me? How would they know I said anything? Why are they watching me? Yeah, it could be reasonably taken as not as so much a threat, but that you're being watched and monitored. This is the internet. Y'all about to learn this shit the hard way, but come on.
That way. You're publicly accusing me of a crime of conspiring to get a bunch of SEALs together and go commit assault. It's a really serious accusation. And I as much as I'd like to ignore it, I have a daughter who's going to read this kind of stuff.
You should have ignored it.
And she's got
should have ignored it.
And you, the voters, have to know the truth. And
you
so
should have ignored it.
Send him the letter, ask him to retract. Of course, he hasn't and won't, or says he won't. And so here we are, in this silly, exhausting social media battle, and potentially legal battle, that just never needed to happen in the first place. So, Shawn, you know what the truth is. You know you never took that as a threat. You know you were embellishing. You know you wanted to get a little extra clicks on the show to just saying Dan Crenshaw accused, threatened me. Well, that'll get you some attention, right? But it never happened. And we have all the evidence to show that it never happened. And so just move on. Say you were wrong.
Okay, he's not going to say, telling people what to do, it never works out. especially when you're trying to get an apology out of somebody. He's not going to do it. So you have, wow. Look at this. Now they got betting stats. Now I can bet them at Polymarket. Recently, a bet appeared on Polymarket asking, will Dan Crenshaw sue Shawn Ryan by January 31st? This is crazy. Now they're taking bets if he's going to sue or not. These two are former Navy SEALs, right? These guys, and then the one movie with Mark Wahlberg, Last Survivor or Lone Survivor, that story was a lie. Those guys are former SEALs, right? We get to it was based off a mission that went wrong, and it didn't. Marcus Luttrell, and he lied. That movie was a lie. That mission didn't go the way they said it went, but it got fucked up. You know, and then you got the footage of the one SEAL they left behind. He was on the ridge against a bunch of bad guys. They let them try to come back and get him. They left them again. Just all types of just effery, man. These are the guys y'all want to be like, yeah, they're gonna beat the cartels. With how? With what cohesion? Like, it's so fractured and so splintered. Like, don't let these guys fool you. The special forces community is fractured. It's like DC. It's like DC right now. You got Snyder Bros, you got Gun Bros, you got DC Bros, DCEU versus DCU. You got the Christopher Reeves versus the Cavalites versus the Corn Sweats. You got the Schumachers versus the Zack Snyders. Do you understand? It's fractured. And I drink all of their tea. They are gossip girls with fucking big ass guns. That's it. That's all. And they could do things physically that most of us could not do. But now these guys, they've retired. They're no longer enlisted. No more high security clearance pass. No more contract work for $1 million. No, now they come to YouTube and tell you all their gun stories, all the horror stories, all the war stories. And you realize, oh, you motherfuckers are just as bad as anybody else. Yeah. I'm here for it, man. Fuck all these dudes. All these quiet this ain't shit professional. So all of a sudden they forgot the quiet professional, the silent professional part. You know, and I like DJ Shipley, but DJ Shipley, yeah, fuck him too. I throw him all in the Nick Irving. I like Nick Irving. Fuck him too. I throw them all in the box. Because once you come to YouTube, that veil is been snatched. Like, now we see y'all for what you guys are. You guys are just corrupt and inept and morally bankrupt, just like anybody else on YouTube, chasing clicks and views. Fuck all of them. Yeah, I respect the skill set. I respect what they did and what they had to go through to get there. But you on YouTube now, buddy. I don't give a fuck how many kills you done had. That means nothing to me. You can't do shit with me on this microphone. Yeah? Okay.